The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department nearly beat a man to death out here if they didn't beat him to death. Not only the fire department, the paramedics, and all these sheriff deputies, all these cars, is out here trying to cover it up. They're trying to tape us out of what they called the crime scene. How are you, man? Did you guys overdo it tonight, you think? No. You nearly beat the guy to death? You think that's appropriate? Why? Look, I know exactly what you're doing now. You're looking for cameras. Why are you looking for cameras? Because you don't want anyone to see what happened.
Evidence, public record.
No bullshit. You guys are going to steal all the video because you don't want someone to see that you beat a guy to death that was cooperating.
You're going to try to cover up the blood stain because it's too late. I got it. You don't want us to see your deputies? I already got him.
Trying to get him to plead guilty to 3 felonies. Meanwhile, they're withholding the evidence that would set him free. Laura and I had deposition for this lawsuit. You're going to be able to listen to what they were saying at the time when they were killing him. Very similar to Tyree Nichols, only Christopher Bailey lived. It's May 4th, 2020, the 28-year anniversary of the LA riots. Deputy Kevin Walker, Sean Groves, they immediately started attacking him. Even as he was complying, Christopher's body is underneath those 3 sheriff deputies right there. Kevin Walker and Sean Groves already had him handcuffed and unconscious as the beating continued. The gentleman at the phone right there is talking to a supervisor. He just gave Johnson the nod to go ahead and put those white sheets back in the trunk because apparently they're not going to be using them tonight. Why would you beat someone nearly to death and then choose to delay medical treatment? The only reason they finally did bring a fire truck in is they tried to bring one in to block our cameras. There's no rational explanation of breaking somebody's eye orbitals. To the sheriff department, there is. That's how they gain admittance to a gang. However many fights we've been in our whole life, nobody gets an eye orbital broken because we don't aim to do those types of things. Unfortunately, the sheriff department does. Make any conclusion you want. Christopher didn't break the law on this night, and there's not even any argument that he did. So the criminal gang members are all the guys that are back on the sidewalk there. You can see one of them has a camera in his hand. He's taking pictures of the other ones. You can see a couple of them are very thirsty on the right side there, downing bottles of water. See the guy taking a swig of his water? Both of them. Apparently they've worked up quite a thirst. They're very thirsty over there. Deputy Kano, the blood on his left bicep and all over the left side of his chest from where he was choking Christopher Bailey. Even from across the street, you could see that. I just pointed that out to you. This incident was code 4 some 10 minutes ago. They didn't bother to bring in the fire department to help this young man. He appears to be dead. So they're having their little gang ritual, ceremony, whatever you want to call it, on the other side of that police car over there. They claimed he was straddling the center line of Prairie Avenue. Do you see the center line there? It has at least 2 curbs. There's a median, there's a big bush, and there's trees. Of course, they would change their story and say, oh no, we didn't mean the center line. We meant one of the lanes on the route he was traveling. The reason they gave doesn't work. They would just switch it. And that reason doesn't work either. There's construction, lane ends, merge left. The sheriff department, when they're fabricating probable cause after the fact, usually they make at least 2 charges. And in this case, they said he was speeding as well. They're going the opposite direction. If you take a look down to where the center divider is, there it is right there. Do you see that center divider? And Christopher's truck is right here in front of me, right there. For them to be going the opposite direction, it's physically impossible for him to have been speeding, for them to have made a U-turn, caught up to him, and pulled him over in that short distance. So both of their excuses for having made this stop, impossible. They did shine the light in his eyes from the opposite direction. And that's what they do. That's standard procedure for them. They hold their flashlights out the window, shine them in the face of people coming the opposite direction, and when they find someone that fits the profile they're interested in, they pull that person over. We see that flashlight in your hand. What do you do with that flashlight, motherfucker?
Make sure you weren't black. Who's the female deputy you got?
He has a flashlight in his motherfucking hand.
Yeah, he's got a little fucking pencil.
We know what you're doing.
We know what time it is. Send an SOS. He's a bitch.
How's that light feel, deputy? I just want to see who you are.
Not one of them even gets a Band-Aid. None of them have any injuries. However, 6 of them took pictures of themselves pretending like they were the ones that were injured instead of Christopher.
So for 6 years, 4 nights a week, 9 hours a night, you'd listen to a police scanner. Why is it that you spend so much time listening to police scanners? Why do you do it?
My interest in police accountability.
What do you mean by that, police accountability?
Keeping law enforcement accountable for their actions with the public.
Where does that interest come from?
Seeing videos and meeting somebody that did police accountability on a one-on-one basis, and I joined him in his endeavors, and I became interested based on my lack of knowledge of my own rights, so I wanted to be more knowledgeable.
Are you referring to Daniel Solomon?
Correct.
And are you two close friends?
We are close friends, yes.
How did you meet?
We ran into each other, and I had recently seen a video of his on YouTube, and I told him I thought I recognized him, and he confirmed that that was him, and it evolved from there.
That's a full-time job. You're burning your gas, went through motors in her car, made this video that saved Christopher's life. On top of being beat nearly to death, they were well on their way to sending him to prison, having concealed her video. That's the kind of pieces of shit we're dealing with.
Where did you run into him? How did you come across his video on YouTube? What brought you to his page or his video? What about Daniel's videos? Do they have a specific focus?
In 2012, my focus was on bringing justice to innocent families of police violence. I knew for a fact that they murdered an innocent man. How could I prove it? I didn't have to be there to realize the story was actual. All I had to do was find out a way to get the audio communications that they share with each other. And that's what I did.
You're sort of referring vaguely to interactions.
Ms Weiss, are they just letting you run around unsupervised? Are they supposed to know the answer to questions before you ask? Isn't that how it works? You know, I didn't go to law school. Neither did Laura, but as you guys discussed, she spent 6 years, got her law degree in the amount of time that she's been working recording the police for free. But you know what? Something I bet you they don't teach in law school? Integrity, because obviously you have none. You want me to be more specific? The media card that I just showed you, the camera was in, got destroyed because I was trying to question witnesses on the block where Alfonso Cerda was run over and killed. Intentionally, he was murdered. Deputy Camara damn near ran me over. He broke my camera. He ripped out the speedometer cables for my bicycle, presumably because he must have thought they were related to a camera or microphone. It was just a speedometer. Something I complained about, something he admitted to, was completely within policy. If they hadn't have run him over and killed him, we were going to cross paths within seconds. There was no gunfight, any of the things that they claimed in the news, brandishing a weapon, a pursuit, all these things. I was riding my bicycle by there. It was silent. There was no noise. There was no police siren. There was nothing. I looked down the street. There was no lights whatsoever. There was no red and blue lights, no police cars, no ambulances, no fire trucks. As I got to my house, I heard them on the radio doing what sounded like canceling the call.
1022 code responses.
But when I woke up in the morning and seen what was on the news, I realized they murdered an innocent man. I have a criminal record for carrying a concealed weapon in public. Without knowing him, I knew they lied about him having a gun.
Alleged wrongful death caused by a sheriff's deputy. The 2 deputies involved are still active in the department.
The driver of the sheriff vehicle, his name is Christopher Varela. Passenger was Rodney Anderson. These are the 2 cowards and criminals that hid behind this badge. The passenger is hiding while the driver's running somebody over. Oh, I fear for my life. I ducked under the car and the car lost control.
The statement about the car losing control, I don't remember what year when they finally got some access to the information, got their settlement, but within a week of killing him, I had already given the Cerda family the audio proving that there was nobody in fear for their life because there was nobody that had a weapon. The family didn't need me to tell them that their dad, their brother, their nephew, that the Fonz, that's what people call them, that he wasn't carrying a weapon because everyone that knew him already knew that. Police dogs from several agencies, and they pretend like they were searching the neighborhood for a unfound weapon, a gun that supposedly that the suspect tossed or whatever. For some reason they couldn't find it, so they bring in all these dogs. The family, like I said, they already know there's no weapon to find. They know he doesn't carry a weapon. They probably don't suspect that it's foul play, they're being lied to. They just think these police are stupid. Well, that's where I come in, because by providing the audio, you can listen to them in their own words explain how, thank you for your role. There's no need to be searching for a weapon. There's nothing outstanding. There never was anything outstanding.
Copy 107, what was the street you're west of? West of Yukon. Absolutely, unit 31 advise the 417 suspect Rampton 107 west of Yukon. Is there a unit to respond in one? 31 I got your containment 107 west. What's the suspect description? He's a male Hispanic on a bike. It's going to be a male Hispanic on a bike. And confirm I have units responding. Is there a unit in one? 31 with just TC 3851 107th Street. And copy, you just had a traffic collision 3851 107th Street. Is there a unit in seconds? Yeah, we have a 902R to 3851 107th. Suspect's going to be underneath their vehicle. Yep, it's going to be 902R to 3851 107. Do we have an outstanding suspect or was that? He's only requesting one unit and the SAM unit. 37 is responding and 32 should be in seconds. Any other units responding code 3, 1022 code 3 responses. Any article search or anything up? We have no outstanding, so we got to roll. Appreciate your roll. Copy that.
Are they focused on arrests or other kinds of interactions?
Look like deputies involved in a fight. That usually means they're beating somebody up. So they're doing what right now it's called an okay to book. That means the fire department is supposed to inspect him, see if he's injured to the point of where he needs to go to the hospital, or is he okay to book. The request was only for their suspect. In other words, no deputies are injured. Policy in action here. The fact that this suspect used his face to bloody somebody's knuckles, they call that assault on an officer. The sergeant is conducting what he calls an investigation. So now we've got medics trying to push medical care on the deputies who, as I've already discussed, initially reported they're not injured. As you see, they're not willing to take the ice, but Deputy Stern's partner does take the ice. He takes it, walks it over, and he throws it in his car where it can melt. And they take some ice packs down to the other guys. The fire department came out, sold some of the most expensive ice you've ever seen, and they're on their way back. As you're going to see, this sergeant who's trying to get statements from people, it doesn't matter what statements, what videos you give to them, everything you give to them is either deleted, discarded, or otherwise withheld. What do you suppose they're going to do with this? A test that doesn't detect marijuana anyways.
All this chit chat, just to fucking arrest.
All this to save face. They're arresting them and impounding the car because they didn't want to let them make a comment.
Are you kidding me?
No, they're taking them. We'll always be painfully honest.
I was like, can I get my clothes, my stuff is in the back of the car. And he didn't say anything. When I kept asking for it, he just sat there quiet, waiting for the tow truck.
Make a difference in people's lives.
So what the officers made it seem like the reason they arrested him and did all of this to him was because of y'all.
Wisdom to apply common sense and fairness in all that they do. This is the sheriff department.
That's literally what he
I don't know the penal code for that.
Their creed, their core values, their mission, prevent crime and injustice and enforce the law fairly. Even with the new sheriff here, Luna, running the place, if you have a complaint, they wrap the place in barbed wire.
They opened the door, pulled the seatbelt off of him, took him out, put the cuffs on him.
Rather than asking them to step out or asking them for ID or asking for a license.
Exactly. And then he said, well, the windows were so dark I couldn't see who was in there. And you could see us because you flashed the light on our face.
Were they going the same way or opposite way?
We were going this way, they were going this way.
They hit you with the light from the opposite direction to see that you're black.
Yes, and then came.
We have 100 videos of them doing exactly that. They made an unlawful arrest. Like, watch. You want to watch me juggle? Watch. This is as much as I can do. With this, I can juggle one thing at a time. You're trying to be a good guy and work for the sheriff's department. You better know how to juggle. You want a camera? Yeah. You can have it till I see you next time. Hopefully, figure out how to use it. It's recorded.
Okay, thank you so much. Excuse me. Thank you.
So it's right here.
Right here. Hello. Do you mind that I have this camera recording?
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna have a recording in here.
Hey, Parker, how much you guys lose on that Christopher Bailey lawsuit where you nearly murdered that guy for allegedly straddling a lane? Remember you were pushing Laura around? Even though you were code 4 for 10 minutes, you started shoving Laura because you were trying to cover up the violence that you guys had just committed against an innocent person? You remember that, Parga?
Okay. Can you describe some of the videos that you've seen of Daniel?
You're recording that?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
You coming for you? I'll let him harass you.
Yeah, I'm being harassed.
And just walk away.
I heard you met my brother the other day. The shooting. Yes.
Tell me about that. What happened over there?
I'm talking about 4th of July.
You just f***ed up.
Racist, when did you get a sidekick?
Unfortunately, I have to give you a couple details about the shooting. This is Deputy 1 and 2 in that vehicle. Deputy 2 fired 11 rounds, hitting my neighbor 7 times. Deputy 2 lied and said that my innocent neighbor had pointed a rifle at him. So my neighbor was acquitted, and he ended up being awarded $500,000. There was video evidence of the incident. They concealed the evidence while they tried to convict my neighbor. Because if they can get a conviction, then you can't sue them. Just swept it under the rug. Deputy 2 beat up a gentleman named Christopher Bailey, beat him nearly to death, kicked his eyeballs, his teeth out of his head. They dry stunned his taser repeatedly. Both of these cases have everything in common. Innocent victims that were randomly approached and nearly murdered by the police.
Turn your bus light off. Rude.
Come on, man, you gotta get her on board.
I am on board.
Look at those big smiles. Kano and Ibera and myself and Rick, you know, all of us, we've had great times out here. There's been tons of horseplay, laughter, genuine good times out here. But this attorney, Ms Weiss, apparently she thought it was important to insult me, to tell lies about me, to make me have to defend myself. And so how much did Ms Weiss get paid to throw these deputies under the bus that she was supposed to be defending?
You gotta get her on board.
With what? Is there something that I don't know?
I'm asking what sorts of things these videos capture.
My God, you are not very intelligent, are you?
If you could be more specific.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What do you mean?
Bailey suffered multiple broken bones in his face, and he's had 3 surgeries to try to restore his vision in his left eye.
I'm such a good person. I didn't believe it could happen to me.
Bailey was initially charged with 3 felony counts of resisting arrest. Charges were dropped.
Oh my god.
That's something they want us taped out.
Oh my god.
You posted approximately 500 videos of police interactions in 6 years.
Correct.
So you described your relationship with Daniel Solomon as close friends, is that right?
Correct.
And when you saw each other, was it always for this sort of purpose, listening to a scanner and driving to police scenes?
Correct.
There must be something more to it. You wouldn't be asking an afternoon full of stupid questions, right? I think what you're referring to is when I disclose communications from the police department costing the agency millions of dollars. So let's just try to be honest, if you don't mind.
Did you otherwise see each other socially?
No.
When you drove to police scenes, was it in your car or his car, typically, at the time?
My car.
On the night of the incident, do you recall what you heard on the police scanner?
Christopher Bailey is all by himself. Christopher Bailey's already unconscious, and there's already half a dozen people beating him up.
Anything else about what you heard?
Beating this man up and not reporting it on the radio. The first word of the fight that comes across the radio, it is not Sean Groves, it is not Kevin Walker, it's Deputy Parga. Someone just said, hit him. The sheriff's department shouting and encouraging this beating.
31 and 2 addition to respond Prairie North of Century. 34 and 2 is 10 unit. 37 from the station. 37 from the station.
A helicopter, sergeants, more and more deputies. Each one of these people that announces they're on their way.
Any leadership over 12. Harrison route from Century. Signature code 3 as well as 10 minute Prairie north of Century. Deputy Multi.
One after the next, they start arriving on scene. 97, 97.
84 your ETA. 34 is on 1 and 31 your ETA.
All these people as they're arriving, nobody's giving any feedback to what the situation is.
31 is going to 1097 now. We go on scene, can you advise the current status? 35 Adam, let's go to 97.
Give us a status update. What the hell is going on? Because they're not stupid. Either the person is dead or they're just playing with them.
Hey, deputies are still actively uniform fight.
It sounds like Matthew Sino, who says 8 deputies are still actively involved in a fight. What the hell are you doing to a person with 7 of your buddies? But they made sure to not take any pictures of anything except for themselves, and they pretended like the blood they had all over them was their own.
Deputies are putting cuffs on the DP now.
Anything else that you can tell me about what you heard?
37 is 1097. Is fire to stage or are they clear to roll in? Hey, fire is clear to roll in. We have sufficient units on scene. You can go ahead and drop the patch. Sufficient units on scene. Fire is clear to respond in. Clear the patch at 0 to 11. 32 of them confirm it's the definite code 4, sir. Code 4. Suspect is in cuffs.
Could you see if he was handcuffed? Was he handcuffed? Oh, you couldn't see? They said on the radio that he was handcuffed long before we arrived. According to Christopher Bailey, he was handcuffed the entire time. He only seen the first 2 deputies who started beating him up because he was unconscious. Christopher has no reason to lie. The sheriff's deputies, on the other hand, they don't even have to lie because Ms Weiss does it for them.
Nobody's outstanding. There's no other suspects. So it's like we are code 4 over here.
They announce code 4 half a dozen times. That means everything is secure. What you don't hear is in between every one of those code 4s is there's another minute gap in the radio transmissions. This is going on. We're still on the 105 freeway with the long ways to go. Fire was supposed to be staging. That means we're at the end of the block. Laura and I got there from South LA before the fire department did.
I'm not looking for anything specific. I just want to know what you recall about what you heard. What did you hear?
We appreciate your role. We're just hanging out for a second, just making sure nobody's all good, sir.
When the sheriff deputies say they appreciate you rolling, thank you for rolling, what that means is they're canceling the call. It would have been nice if they canceled it before they nearly murdered Christopher, but that was their intention from the start. Thank you for rolling. We're going to talk more about that, and I'm going to show you some other people that were murdered before they canceled the call.
Recall approximately what time you heard this radio traffic on the police scanner?
It's cool. You could shoot innocent people 7 times if you want, but make sure you establish probable cause in the report. Here comes Christopher Bailey, and once again, they did not establish probable cause in their police report.
And what did you do after you heard this radio traffic on the police scanner?
Deputies are still actively involved in the fight. We're going to actively break that shit up.
You didn't have any expectations based on what you heard from the radio traffic?
They're still beating up a dead guy.
About how long did it take you to get to the scene? And where were you when you arrived on scene?
Look at this female sheriff running. What is she going to do? She needs more weapons or what? She came and got a can of mace.
Was that across from a median?
Correct.
The median in between 2 double sets of lanes?
Correct.
And approximately how high were the bushes?
I don't know.
Can you estimate? Did you see the plaintiff at this time? Is that because he was behind the bushes? What else did you observe, other than certain deputies kneeling and other deputies coming towards you?
I did see in the distance deputies against a gate being pictures taken of them.
And what else?
And that's all I can recall at this moment.
Was the plaintiff on the ground when you arrived on scene? Was he handcuffed when you arrived at the scene? but you didn't see him stand or move or get up. Did you see any altercation between the deputies or the plaintiff when you arrived? Shortly after you arrived, paramedics arrived, correct? Approximately how much time do you think passed between when you arrived and when the ambulance arrived? Were you behind this median for the duration of your presence on the scene? Were you filming from the moment you arrived on the scene? What did you see when you moved closer to the scene? What did you observe?
Multiple deputies were surrounding him as paramedics arrived, and the stretcher was brought over and they sat him up.
So at this time, plaintiff was still on the ground, is that right?
Correct.
And was he handcuffed? So you arrived at the scene after the altercation between the deputies and the plaintiff, correct? So you wouldn't know if he had struck any officers in the head, correct? Or headbutted the officers, correct? Or elbowed an officer in the face, correct? So you would know if he'd stated that he had a weapon on him, correct?
Objection, argumentative, that's not an evidence.
And you wouldn't know if he had reached for a weapon behind his waistband, would you?
Objection, argumentative, that's not an evidence.
You showed up after the incident had occurred, correct? And you didn't observe any strikes between the plaintiff and the deputies, correct?
Guess what, Ms. Weiss? The sheriffs would know, and they didn't put any of that shit in their reports. She's not even accused of any of these ridiculous allegations that you're trying to make right now. And of course we can prove all that. So shut the fuck up with your stupid allegations. Quit wasting our time. We don't need to do your dumb depositions. This ain't going to court. You don't have a leg to stand on.
Everything you observed was on your video, is that right?
Every single deputy, they're required to review this video advisement. They want to limit Laura to only what was shown in the video. Ms. Weiss is a dishonest piece of...
How would you describe your interaction with the plaintiff's with the deputies that evening?
They tried to push us back.
They physically assaulted Laura.
Daniel Solomon ran towards the scene and towards the police when you arrived, correct?
Needs more weapons or what? Show, she came and got a can of mace. They're gonna pepper spray his ass. She came and got a can. The bitch is gonna pepper spray him. She just came and got a can. They're like, they haven't done enough. Leave him alone, mother. You ain't done enough. Bitch is gonna get pepper spray. What the? You ain't killed the guy yet? Oh, off. You stay over there. What the?
Bring some tape. Somebody bring some tape.
Yeah, bring some tape. Put it over your mouth, mother. Tape it up, mother. Try to hide what you just did. How you doing, deputy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good to see you.
Same here. All right, you bring tape. Start taping from that pole to there.
You guys gonna tape me in?
No, I'm gonna tape you out.
So is the guy gonna live? Are they still killing him or what?
I'm not a doctor.
You're not a doctor.
And at that point, that's when the deputies asked you to take a step back, is that right?
Where's Deputy Ortiz? You need someone that beats up women?
Step up. Okay, that's fine. He's giving you a legal order to go down and go. Let's go. Don't take it. If you stay inside, they're going to jail. Take it. You want to jail? You want to talk to what happened? That's exactly what I said.
Do you recall Daniel Solomon calling the deputy's mother when he arrived on scene?
Yeah, Carla.
Leave him alone, mother. That's my favorite part by far. Olivia Weiss and I changed jobs. So it's her showing up on the scene, running down the sidewalk, shouting, "Let me suck all your..." Right, Ms. Weiss, is that what you do?
Do you recall him calling them cowards and losers when he arrived on scene?
At a context of a life where you're rewarded for being the most ferocious, that is normal.
Right, it's you guys are being violent, even pushing Laura around. I thought we were friends. Is your name Gomez? I'm guessing. I didn't even see the tag. I thought we were friends. Look, you're out of breath. What happened? What happened?
Do you recall him calling the deputies bitches when he arrived on scene?
Did that guy give you a run for your money? Or was it Laura that got you all out of breath? Was it fighting with Laura? Is that why you're all out of breath?
Hey, you say whatever you want to say, Dad.
Yeah, but I'm hitting the sensitive spots, aren't I?
Do you recall Daniel Solomon telling the deputies to eat a dick when he arrived on scene?
I don't recall.
You've never seen one of my videos before. That's why you're so stupid, right? Had you watched my videos, you wouldn't have had to ask all these dumb questions. I'm going to cue one up for you to learn something from.
Sheriffs are pulling me over at 147th and Prairie right now. Good. What do you want? No, I'm not going to. What do you need? You saw me filming you right now, so you waited till I pulled away and you pulled me over. You're not going to get it. Get the light out of my face, loser. That's what I thought.
Hey, Jody?
Okay, what if I don't sign it?
If you don't sign it, unfortunately, you have to be taken into the local jail.
For what?
You threatened somebody with arrest?
No?
You threatening somebody with arrest?
I'm not threatening with arrest.
So are you claiming?
You might let me do my job.
You mind answering my question?
All right, at this point, if you fail to let me do my job...
I'm not stopping you. You go ahead. Speech is not interfering, you retard. How many times do I have to teach you that lesson? You dumb... I can say whatever words I want. That is not interference. If you're too stupid to do your job, that is not my fault. All right, now that I've lost my voice, I know there's plenty of you that would say that Daniel, he's so unprofessional, disrespectful, saying bad words. Well, I challenge you to show up on the scene night after night, day after day, morning after morning, and the only thing you're going to get in return for doing what I do is get arrested repeatedly, get false citations repeatedly. Forget about paying rent or working for a living. You're going to do this just out of the goodness of your heart. And I want you to come out here and think of something nice to say to these people that are beating the shit out of people for no fucking reason. But I did make my motherfucking point. So if you want to criticize me, that's fine. But let's keep it real. You would never get out here and make a point, would you? There's enough people sucking the cops out here. I don't need to do that.
I'm sure his mom wouldn't even recognize him. Like, it was horrible. There's blood on the ground. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Just pass the grip. Leave him alone.
They're trying to do what they always do when they cover shit up. They bring out their little Sony Handycam and they make little fake ass interviews with each other. But it's hard to do when they've got me shouting in the background because I'm f***ing up their audio.
That's so foul. Hey, can you come over here and fire truck so you can get the
I know everyone's like, oh, the fire departments are so great. Every single police beating they show up for. How many times does a fire department employee speak up about the fact that they had to wash blood off the street? What was that you took out of your trunk and planted on the guy? What was that you planted in that bag? You're too stupid to control yourselves? Any video that is not in their favor, it doesn't exist. And if you record a video and they take you into custody, they either delete it or they break the media card or both. They have handheld cameras and like I said, they delete it. At least every time when I'm involved, they delete their videos, they break my media cards. Other people I know that are photographers, when they get arrested, they do the same to them. Because the truth is not what the sheriff department is about. There's no cameras in these cars except for the handheld ones in the trunk, and you won't ever see that footage if you're an innocent person. We're really proud of you, Deputy Gomez. You did an outstanding job tonight. I love the way you got that tape up quick when you seen us coming to cover for your compadres. What's your name, Deputy? I can't see your tag. It's pointing up to the sky. Thank you. I appreciate that, Johnson. Did you see what happened here tonight?
I got here late, man.
You got here late? Do you think it was excessive at all? Deputy Gomez, it's good to see you, buddy.
What's up, Daniel?
You're not going to let you have me arrested after this, are you?
No, we're done. You're good?
For what it's worth, I'm ashamed of the videos that I've been making, of the way I've been expressing myself. I mean, how do you put it? How do you express yourself nicely when the sheriff department is beating the snot out of somebody in the street, and the fire department is out here hosing the blood off? And you think this is going to be in the newspaper? You think we're going to hear about this in the news tomorrow, what the sheriffs did to somebody? Not only did he get his face beat to a pulp, they're going to have to frame him for something serious to justify the fact that they beat him half to death. He's not going to get a PC-148 case and be OR'd in the morning. His life is now over because for the police to justify what they did to him, they have to go the extra mile and ruin his life completely and make it to be his fault. That's how the justice system works in the United States. They were combing up and down the street. They're checking for security cameras because they're going to make sure there's no evidence anywhere to show what they did.
Do you recall laughing at these comments? in your video?
Do I recall myself laughing?
Yes.
No, I don't recall.
Was Mr. Solomon's behavior uncommon that evening?
It wasn't surprising.
I'm just asking if it was uncommon the way Daniel Solomon behaved, Daniel Solomon, the things that he was saying, Daniel Solomon to the deputies.
No.
So he had said things like that to deputies in front of you before?
All those awful things I said, and they didn't lay one single finger on me. Christopher Bailey is a perfect gentleman, never said a single bad word, didn't break the law, and they nearly murdered him. If I didn't know better, I would say they don't like black people. You don't get to decide whose rights you protect. If you're interested in protecting your own rights, you have to stand up for everybody's rights.
But you didn't interject when he said those things to the deputies.
Daniel, why would you...
Why would I what? Say it, Lauren.
I want to see what the they're doing, and now you're just pissed them off.
But you didn't interject when he said those things to the deputies.
How many bitches?
Daniel! Touch me, dude.
Step
Don't
up.
touch me.
Step up, please.
Because I want to document...
Okay, that's fine. He's giving you a legal order to go down there. Now go.
Legal?
Let's go.
Just because you say it doesn't make it legal.
Go tape it. If they
What?
stay inside, they're going to jail. Tape it.
We're going to jail if we want to document what happened?
That's exactly what I said.
I didn't say shit.
You're going to go to jail.
But you didn't interject when he said those things to the deputies.
I mean, even that's right there. Look, she's all out of breath.
Oh, God, Daniel, come on.
Have a beautiful day, Daniel.
You too, little man. It was nice.
Can you think of any other reason you would be laughing?
Think I'm not going to use the video evidence to prove that you're a lying sack of shit? That's funny. Nothing but lies out their mouth from beginning to end. If there was ever any question about the evidence, Olivia Weiss settled that. Her conduct explained all I need to know. These deputies haven't even been questioned about this incident. The county turned over no records. It could disrupt their day-to-day operations, and it could affect the morale of the deputies on duty. Try to send Christopher to prison and pretend like it was him that did something wrong, because that's better for the morale of the sheriff department.
I'm trying to understand why you would laugh at comments like that directed at deputies.
Your kids watching this video and learning what their mother does? That's funny. That's what's funny about this.
Did Mr. Solomon's comments reflect your feelings towards the police?
My name in your mouth all day. Niggas acting like they know me, but they tripping. They don't know me. Either way, my name is in your mouth all day.
But you continue to do these sorts of, I don't even know what to call it.
That's because you're... Let me help you, Ms. Weiss. It's called saving an innocent man's life from a guilty gang of criminals. I want you to come up with an honest question before this thing is over, please.
You know Kano has stripes? 2. He's a training officer. God help us. When the f did you get stripes? Who'd you kill to get those stripes, Kano? You didn't have stripes last week. Kano, when did you get your stripes? I've never seen that before. I'm terrified.
Hi, Laura.
What's up? Hey, I found out about you and your brother.
In a good way or bad way?
When you guys were in the jail together and they couldn't identify which one of you it was that beat them. They're like, I don't know which one of the twins it was.
That wasn't us.
Yeah, what other twin Ibarra is there in the jail? Manuel and Armando Ibarra? Where's your stripes? Why did Kano get them before you?
He's smart.
He's not smart. He's a gang member. That's probably how he got promoted. Who's your partner? Is that Walker?
Daniel Solomon calling the police. Daniel Solomon. Daniel Solomon. Daniel Solomon. Daniel Solomon.
I still record with him, correct.
Oh my God.
And you post these videos on YouTube, despite those comments? What other sorts of things do you edit out of the videos?
No, Ms. Weiss. That's not what's going on here. Let me tell you something, dumb bitch, what happened, okay? And you already know this, you liar. You guys are required by law to have given Christopher Bailey, first of all, how about some respect and not have tried to kill him, but once you did that, you're required to provide this video that proves his innocence. But you're pieces of shit, dishonest cowards, so you didn't, right? You refused to give us Christopher's contact information because you're trying to send this innocent man to prison because you don't want to pay for his doctor bills or anything else. Charged with 2 felonies. The truth came out. My neighbor was awarded nearly $500,000. In the action report, they leave in all the lies from Deputy Kano. They should have crossed out all the lies, which would have meant firing him for perjury. They promoted him, as you've seen. Several witnesses observed and made statements, not exactly the same as nobody's seen what happened. Obviously, he's a victim. Not only did they include his address, but they disclosed the address of his grandparents, the address of his aunt, her husband, and their 3 small children. They did not redact this. I did. So Ms. Weiss wants to know, why don't we blur the faces of Deputy 2 and Deputy 1?
My name is Matthew Burson, and I'm the Chief of the Department's Professional Standards Division. And my areas of responsibility include Internal Affairs Bureau. I am here to strongly denounce alleged deputy subgroups and cliques, commonly referred to as deputy gangs. I have more than 30 years of experience on the department, and I take the utmost pride in this profession. I am absolutely sickened of any deputy hiding behind a badge to hurt anyone. We have also reached out to the FBI for assistance, knowing that with their dedication and expertise, we will accomplish much more than the previous administrations combined.
And what about the images of the civilians that are either arrested or involved in a traffic stop somehow?
The person that you're talking about in that question, you know, he does have a name. It's Christopher Bailey. Let me help you with your question. What about Christopher Bailey, the person involved in the alleged traffic stop, because he didn't actually break the law, but you guys did break his face, his balls, and everything else? And that's exactly what this deposition was supposed to be about. Let's see, so your suggestion is that disclose Christopher Bailey's home address, all of his family members, put in the action report a bunch of lies saying that he attacked police and maybe that he had a rifle and pointed it at the police, and we'll keep the police's names private and blur their faces, right? The opposite of the truth in all the published documents. When this happens, Ms. Weiss, this solution that you're suggesting, that'll be the day that your home with your children in it, and all law enforcement and the government all over this country, that'll be the day, not just riots, but civil war. Could you stop with your stupidity for 1 second, Ms. Weiss? Do you even think about what's coming out of your mouth? You're retarded, or what is the problem here? I do understand that your clients are guilty and you have no defense, but you're making it worse, not only on yourself, but especially on your clients. They don't like me having to treat them accordingly because of your stupidity, Ms. Weiss.
Make sure you put my name on the police report, because I got evidence. Sergeant, make sure my name goes on the police report. I know it won't. Obviously, if you want this arrest to stick, you're going to have to lie.
Everything's on body cam.
You're required to provide it within 45 days. When does that happen?
Again, that has to go to our sheriff's information bureau.
Yeah, the law is not good enough.
Ours is available tonight.
You blurred their images. Are you concerned about their rights to privacy? You posted hundreds of videos, so it's very likely that hundreds of people are not aware that their videos are on YouTube. Is that right?
You had over 2 years to come up with your questions. The whole time you were hiding the video from Christopher. On the scene on May 4th, 2020, I took the time to answer all of your stupid questions that I knew would be coming if you guys weren't successful at hiding this video from the person you nearly killed. And what's your most recent dumbass question? Have we posted hundreds of videos, Ms. Weiss? Why do you keep focusing on YouTube? That's the furthest thing from our minds. I record every day and night, and it's been 6 years, 7, 8 years since I've been posting videos. So why are we discussing YouTube? The only reason Laura posted this video, we were hoping that it would get to the defendant that you guys were trying to send to prison as an innocent victim of police violence. I wish you would quit changing the subject. This deposition is not about YouTube. It's not about editing videos. It's not about when Laura and I met. It's not about any of that shit. It's about what your clients did to Christopher Bailey. If it was up to you, we wouldn't have even brought their names into this deposition. That's what's putting them in danger, Ms. Weiss. You, what you're doing. By making them think it's okay to murder people, and it's okay to keep their identity private when they murder innocent people, that's what's going to get them hurt. Your behavior. So please shut the fuck up with your stupidity. I can't stand to hear you for another minute.
They all see me.
Okay. They don't know who you are, though. You're a stranger arriving on scene. Do you recall being interviewed by Internal Affairs?
I do.
What do you recall about that?
About an hour away to some remote building, Laura provided her unedited video, the complete interaction Instead of providing the video to the plaintiff in this lawsuit, they simply deleted it. Tried to go forward prosecuting him as an innocent man.
What else do you recall about it?
If it went to trial, they would have taken that recording and made it into something it wasn't and tried to make Laura a liar. And to prove that, here you are disclosing information from that interview that they swore up and down was confidential and said that's why she can't record it. Well, no, it's not, and yes, we did.
What else do you recall? Do you recall saying that you wished you were recording an interview yourself?
I do.
Why did you say that?
I just wanted to have that in my records to know what was asked and what was said.
Why did you want that in your own records?
Because she was setting you up, dumb shit. You just proved my point. You just proved to her that what I said was true. Keep disclosing more shit about the IA interview that's supposed to be confidential. The only person it was confidential from was Christopher Bailey. That's where that video needed to go.
Did you not trust that the IA's record would be complete?
Have you ever edited any of your videos in which you would edit it so that it would depict falsely what you captured on video?
No, I have not.
And so the extent of the edits that you would make, they were to remove distracting language, is that right?
Correct.
And any kind of footage that had no significance, is that correct?
Correct.
Can you describe what his face appeared, how it appeared?
His face was very deformed. I mean, it was horrific.
Did you make a comment as to how his face appeared?
I said he doesn't even look human. Yeah, I was shocked.
Did you hear Mr. Bailey say anything at any point when you were at the location?
I heard him say, "I want to live."
When he said, "I want to live," do you recall what position he was in? Was he still on the ground or was he somewhere else?
I heard what he said. He said, "I want to live." Apparently, that's not what you guys had on the f***ing agenda, you bunch of cowards.
I believe he was still on the ground. That is when we first arrived, and we didn't have a clear line of sight of him because there was a median blocking us. But it was very clear that the individual that they had, their suspect, was the one speaking, saying, "I want to live."
Did you see any of the deputies with blood on their uniform?
You have blood on your hands?
No, I got it off.
You got it off? It was you? He didn't even look human. He didn't even look human. When you were done with him, what do you mean, wow? No, that man that you guys beat to a pulp did not look human after you were done with him. I did.
How many?
Probably about 3 deputies.
At the time, which deputies were you familiar with?
Deputy Kano, Deputy Parga, Deputy Sabatine, Deputy Johnson, Deputy Stewart.
Do any video recordings of Deputy Kano come to mind in which he was violating the rights of citizens? How about with Deputy Parga?
You know, the 6 guys that took pictures of themselves in Christopher's blood, Parga's the only one of those guys that came and ran around and tried to put up tape, push Laura around. He has a bad habit of shoving all female photographers.
When you were observing the deputies, the ones that had blood splattered on their, or blood on their uniform, did any of them appear to be injured to you?
No, they did not.
I have a few follow-up questions. When you heard Mr. Bailey say, "I want to live," you were on the other side of the median, isn't that right?
Yes, I was on the sidewalk, correct.
And it wasn't captured in your video, correct?
Yes, it was.
Mr. Bailey's statement, "I want to live," was captured in your video?
Yes, it was.
Did you edit any version of this video?
I edited the posted YouTube video, but not the video that I turned in.
What did you edit about posted YouTube video?
I edited some of the language from Daniel, but I turned in the complete and full video.
Why did you remove bad words from your videos? The same reason you're trying to insert them into this deposition, Ms. Weiss, because it's distracting. And if you don't get to try to distract people, You don't have a word to say because you're a loser. Now I have an educational video for you to watch about my language.
I am allowed to ask for a supervisor.
You will get it once I'm done.
Done what?
Stop.
What is your name?
My name? You will get it.
No, what is your name, deputy? You're asking for my information and you haven't even identified yourself.
Morales said he's going to retaliate for recording him. Now he's choking on his words. Condone. Once I'm condone. Yeah, Morales learned a big lesson this night too. Ms Weiss, I hope you're capable of learning it. It's called picking your battles, dumb. You don't pick fights with innocent people and then complain when they use free speech on you. Do you understand that? You don't murder innocent people and then complain when someone calls you out for being the piece of shit that you are, Ms Weiss.
It was immediately after I stopped filming, he pulled out and he followed me over here when I was going home.
It's funny that you losers can't find something else to do than harass somebody for recording you. Picking on ladies, stealing their cars when they're on their way to work. Why are you impounding the vehicle, if I can ask? I'm asking you, though. 26 years he's worked with this agency, and he can't find nothing better to do except impound the vehicle of somebody trying to go to work. Yeah, would you like to explain? Explain to me. Go ahead.
So you show that it's not suspended either, right?
Vehicle, we can't release the vehicle because it has 30 days hold.
This sergeant here that I've known for 10 years, he thought he could retaliate. He lies and steals Jody Cat's car that she uses to go to work, that she uses to take her kids to school. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's what you're defending, you filthy piece of shit. But it's much worse than that, because these motherfuckers wouldn't dare do to me what they do to the other people in public. They murder them. That's what this case is about. They nearly murdered Christopher Bailey because he's a stranger. They don't know him. The only thing left is to explain to everybody what you're supporting, what you're advocating for, Ms. Weiss. While other people in this country are accomplishing nothing, chanting or marching for civil rights, you're making sure that progress in this country goes backwards. The people you defended in this case that attacked Christopher Bailey, they've already murdered many innocent people since then. How do you think they're going to feel when they find out that this shit could have been stopped before their family member died if it wasn't for Olivia Weiss? Is there anything you wouldn't do for $1? You're trash. It's bad enough that you guys aren't going to punish. You don't have to show up and insult me. I suggest you don't make that mistake again. Are you in the same gang as them? Or you don't participate? Is that only the night shift? This is your legacy. I just made it. You guys are a disgrace. And you know it. That's why you don't want people recording you. Because you know what kind of scumbag you are.
That concludes today's deposition. We're going off the record, and the time is 2:57 p.m.